Hello, welcome to Authentic You. This is season 3. I am SeaJay Leapshire, your host, and the one who keeps us hearing ridiculous stories. I'm here with my co-hosts, Erika and Deborah Giles, and I realized that I have not updated you all on my farm.
No.
Yes,
My
tell
suburban
everyone.
farm, okay? I like to call it a suburban farm because I think most people think I have land, and I do not. I live in a neighborhood with a very small backyard, actually, and I have animals that I'm probably not supposed to have. So please, no one report me. I don't even know who you'd report me to, but please don't do it. Please don't deport my chickens or my ducks, all right? They're fine the way they are. But we had sad news. I had 3 dogs. I had to put 1 dog down. It was literally the worst moment of my life. I have lost people, okay? So I thought I have this. Like, I've lost people. I've lost people tragically. Like, I know how to grieve people dying. And my dog died, and I hysterically cried for 3 days. Hysterically cried. Laid on the ground holding him. You guys. There was no, like, keep yourself together. You're the mom. Be the leader. Like, let's manage ourselves. Let's show our kids strength in the midst of hardship. No. I actually climbed into his arms and had his arms wrap around my neck and laid there with him for a while, telling him how much I loved him before we left for the vet. And my kids just sat there weeping, watching me weep.
It's horrible.
Anyway, so if you wanted to know about my inner strength, oh my gosh, this was another moment. I don't know if I even told you this. So Erika, as my friend, encourages me a lot that I'm a strong person. Like you say often, I am a strong person. I can handle hard things. So I kept saying to my family, like, I can't believe how emotional I am about this and how I've handled this. And my son looked at me, as only your son can do, and said, Mom, it's like you don't know who you are. Like, he's like, why wouldn't you think you were going to respond like this? And I was like, because I'm strong. And he's like, no, Mom. Like, this is exactly how I thought you would handle this. I was so like, I'm going to go to Erika's house right now and leave all of you people.
My family cried for 3 days as well.
Yes.
Because we know Dash as long as we've known you.
Yes. Erika, you went with me to pick him up from the airport.
He sat on my lap from
He smelled
Sacramento
so
to
bad.
Reading. He smelled very
Anyway.
bad. He smelled bad right till the
All
end.
the time.
He was his thing.
What I didn't realize was how much dogs can be, like, truly a comfort. Like, I knew I loved him. He was literally, I mean, I meant it. People giggled, and I would say it as a joke, but I actually truly meant that my family needed to know that if there was a fire in the house, some type of catastrophe, they have brains and know to get out. So unless they had a broken limb, I wasn't going to help them. I was going to get Dash out. And everybody's like, ha, you're so funny. I'm like, I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. I practiced carrying him. He was 75 pounds. I could get him up all my stairs. That is how much this dog meant to me. But I still thought, once again, I've lost people. I will be okay. I was not okay for many, many days. So there's that. That's update. I only have 2 dogs. Banning won't let me get another one. And Erika says,
What a wise man.
I
Need to submit.
Need to have a brain to not do this to myself. I don't agree. And we'll see how long this lasts.
How long me and Benny can hold on.
Yes. But I did want to also inform you, I know this is what you guys want to know. Also, I did have an emergency with my duck. So ducks have penises that you can't see until they pop out. Well, one day his penis popped out and it stayed out.
What is his name?
His name
Not
is
the
Gene.
penis, the duck.
I don't know the duck's penis's name, but it was Gene's penis.
You didn't name it.
And I learned even more about myself. I think I'm a vet, and I think I can solve most things with Google. So I did Google a lot of information, and I did try to solve my duck's penis problem, and I did things that I never thought I would do, and it didn't work. And in the end, a vet lady told me you use preparation H.
What?
Put it on your duck's penis and shove it back inside, and it worked.
It's amazing.
The internet did not tell you to use
Failed
preparation
you.
H. They told me to dip it in sugar, and that did not work. So let me just tell you.
That sounds super inappropriate.
Is this common for ducks?
Yes, it's a thing that happens.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
can tell you
it's
why,
a
but I
farm
don't
life,
think anybody
yeah.
wants to know. But I will say, if you need to keep something from drying out, you put it in penis. I mean, you know. You put it in sugar.
In sugar?
You put it in sugar. Don't put it in penis.
Oh, wow.
I am so
We've had
confused.
nothing like this before.
So
She's going downhill.
the sugar didn't work,
No,
but it
you
is
put
good.
it in
It is good if you want to keep something from drying out or something.
sugar?
In
Yeah.
sugar?
You put
Dry sugar?
petroleum jelly on it and then sugar.
What?
Yeah.
So it's like dipping it.
Okay, so tell me, how would you think if they said, "Hey, you put petroleum jelly and then sugar on, say that organ that's hanging out of your duck, how would you get the sugar on?"
I will sprinkle it.
You will sprinkle it like
Like in a,
somebody's holding the
a
duck.
salt, like a salt
Okay.
shaker.
Oh, no.
Okay.
A bowl.
How would you do it?
A bowl. You would
You
dip it
dip
in with a
it?
bowl.
Okay, so the way me and Ellie did it, first we slathered quite a bit of petroleum jelly on there
Yeah.
because we thought we got to have a lot for the sugar to stick
Right.
to,
Oh,
right?
yeah. I mean, her nursing degree will help.
Then
yeah.
Ellie cups her hands together and we pour a mound of sugar into her hands in the middle of my living room because, that's why
Right.
would we go somewhere else? I proceed to hold Gene covered in petroleum jelly and dip him into the handful of sugar. Okay,
So you're
over-
holding the duck and you just up and
just
down.
dipping into the handful of sugar. And then Ellie puts the remaining sugar in a towel and we're like, look at us. We are ready to go. We have done this. We have saved his organs. It's going to be amazing.
It didn't work though.
And then he poops on the floor because ducks poop a lot. He poops on the floor. Ellie grabs the towel that now has all the sugar in it, to clean up the poop and throws now penis sugar all over my house. So, yep, if anybody has a problem with their duck's penis, give me a call. I can solve it for you. Well, I could actually tell you all the things that you shouldn't do. And there you go. Welcome to Authentic You.
You can hear me and Deborah are pretty speechless. we got nothing. We got
If I wanted a
nothing.
duck, it's no longer there. The desire is
Okay,
gone.
I will tell you this before we get into this actually really good podcast. I learned some things about a duck's penis. Number one, they don't need them to pee or to procreate. They're not like humans. It's like a straw. You can just cut it off and they can still pee and they can still procreate
Why
somehow.
do they have it then?
I think it's helpful. I don't know.
For
Then
what?
you'll ask God in heaven when you get
Yeah,
to one
I
day.
don't know. Maybe it helps them aim. I don't know, actually. At
Yeah,
all.
I mean the Lord knows.
They
yes.
said it's like a straw and they could just cut it off. So if I couldn't have got it back in, they were going to cut it off. So I worked hard to save Jean's
fought for
penis.
it.
Yes.
Okay.
And I did it. I saved it.
At this point, I think you just like saying that word.
Penis, penis,
Yeah.
penis. I definitely like saying it on a church podcast. It
Yes.
feels like it fits me. That
And if they cut that word out, they would just be
yes.
yeah, there would
And
be no
it's-
sentences.
And if Banning was in here, he'd be like, "SeaJay, stop it."
Yeah.
But he's not in here, so I can say what I want to say.
All righty then.
Yeah, and you two can't stop me. You try. Anyway, so as you know, our series are hearing women's stories. So Janessa Ford is here. How did you like hearing about Jean's penis?
Hi. Well, I just got to say, what a riveting podcast already.
I
I'm
know.
so happy to be here. What a fun afternoon. I'm like an original listener of the AY podcast.
Really?
Like 8 years ago. I was going back into Apple Podcasts. Like, when did I stumble across them? 2017.
Wow.
And
so-
I kept coming back for stories like this.
Oh my gosh.
You know?
Well, see, they try to stifle me sometimes, Janessa. They sometimes like, hey, no more chickens. No more,
Yeah.
CJ. But I'm like, but then you don't know when this gem is going to come out.
Right. And people want the updates.
If I stop those stories,
What would Deborah and I know about?
I know.
The P word.
People
Can't
may
even
not
say
listen.
it. Yeah.
Can you not say it?
I'm not saying it.
No, I won't say it.
Not about
you
a dad.
serious?
No.
Do you not say it in real life?
No.
No.
Yes.
Well, I mean,
We don't know.
I don't. If I have to, but not just because I.
We don't just talk about these things.
Really?
Yes.
Do you have
But
a hard
you're
time
bringing-
saying it?
Penis.
Yeah.
Bringing freedom
Did
to
you
us.
see how good Janessa is? She is braver than you two. Anyway, Janessa has been a part of Jesus culture for a long time now. Her story of how she got here is amazing. But tell us a little bit about yourself, where you work,
I
how
have to
old
talk
you
about
are.
what I do for work on the podcast.
Absolutely.
It's my favorite.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, I've been at Jesus Culture for the last 5 or 6 years, originally from Tennessee, born and raised. So I was there for most of my life growing up, did a lot of mission work overseas in my 20s, and then was in Nashville before moving here, and then actually came here for the School of Leadership. And after finishing, I decided, gosh, I love Northern California. I don't want to go anywhere else.
Absolutely.
So it's
Why
beautiful
not?
here. So decided to put down roots here, and I'd originally got offered this kind of unique job about 10 years ago after college. I was a financial advisor working there with another gal that was a financial advisor, and she left because she got recruited to work in the funeral industry. So she starts working there. She calls me 9 months later and is like, Janessa, I found what you need to be doing every day, more or less, because I already had the heart to help people plan for retirement or to teach. I like to work with people, but this is something that you kind of have to have a really, good gift between passion, empathy, and, but still kind of sales minded. So yeah, I help senior citizens plan for their final farewell, their final tiny home.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I am not a senior citizen yet, but basically Janessa, through another staff member here, has set most of us up. We are paying, me and my husband, to get cremated. We chose the box. We told the kids.
Client testimonial
It's
right
like
here.
we're like saying this is our last gift to you guys because you're going to be so sad and you don't have to worry about this.
Yeah.
And then here's the funny story. One of the there's the different packages you can choose, and one you can choose is like they sprinkle your ashes, go on a boat trip in the San Francisco Bay.
Yeah.
And my kids, all my girls heard was boat trip. They're like, when is this? We can't wait for the boat trip in San Francisco. I'm like, I am sorry. We will be dead in a box. Anyway, that was wonderful. So
That was
what
a
you
key
picked?
selling point. Yeah.
I don't know even if I can't remember. I just know
I don't want to be sprinkled
I
in
chose
the
a
San
very
Francisco Bay.
natural looking box because I didn't want an urn that looks like a pot, a vase or something. But anyway, all that to say, the kids are very excited about that, and we're just paying away, taken care of. So, well, thank you, Janessa.
Yes.
Wait,
Yeah.
what
Thank
did-
you for helping
What
us.
did our friend was selling these, and what did we used to call them? Whenever you said like we're having a burning party. Or
Yeah, she's just gonna burn the parents. Emma, my youngest said something about the burn the parents party.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So
Did you know in England
we're
they
set up.
do the cremation in front of you?
Stop.
No. They open the curtains.
What?
They roll the coffin into
No.
the furnace, and then you watch it burn, and then they shut the curtains. So my husband could not believe that we don't watch the cremation of the people.
I didn't pay for that.
Yeah, you can
I
add
paid
that
for-
on, but but it is closed behind. But
Okay.
yeah, you can add on the witness to just be there to ensure that
So,
your
yeah,
loved
that
one,
would make
you know,
sense.
There's
Not
add-ons.
a stranger.
Yes.
to ensure
Yeah.
you're getting back the right. Yeah.
Well, we thank you, Janessa, for setting us up. Well, setting the children up, really.
Yeah.
It's a gift to your
it's a
family.
gift.
Yeah.
One last gift.
I do have to say, because I've experienced more loss, I think I am a little bit more callous to it. And so I have my granny's ashes at my house, and I really enjoy having her ashes at my house. And I carry her around, and she's in this plastic little box, and it's not even a nice box. And me and Ellie open it up and look at her ashes sometimes, and we're like, what color? Do you think her bones made that color ash? And I'm like, this is. Welcome to the life of someone who's had a lot of people die.
Yeah.
And Granny lived a long life, so it doesn't feel sad. I'm all, look at Granny was 100. Let's see what her ashes look like. But Dash also was cremated, and they sent us his ashes, and he's in a nicer urn than poor Granny.
Oh, you could change it out.
I need to.
Mix them, then they can be together.
Yeah, I need to, because I don't know who ordered Granny's, but it's literally like a brown Tupperware container that Granny's in, and Dash is in this like cute little vase with a lid. And I'm like, I feel so bad.
You could get a nice.
I'm sorry, Granny.
Let's get a box.
We need to get her something,
Something
Erika.
that she would like.
Yes.
Something yellow.
I can show you our latest selection.
Well, I do have to say this. So in the midst of my mourning, how I shared it was not a pretty morning of Dash. I had to fill out all the paperwork. I feel like Banning should have had to order. Number one, I've never had my dog's ashes sent back to me, but my kids were like, we have to have Dash, Mom. And I was like, okay. And they picked out this urn. Well, when I go to fill it out, that urn was $200. And I was like, yeah, I am not paying for a $200 urn for my dog. So I took the free urn. So that little one that's better than Granny's was free. Was free.
Wow.
But when Lake came home and he found me crying in the laundry room about Dash, I said, I didn't get the nice urn for you. And he was like, Mom.
Do you know yourself, Mom?
Mom, it's okay. I got the cheap one. It was free. Anyway.
Confessions
This is
of
why
a
I
dog
help people
mom.
pre-plan so their kids don't find themselves buying cheap urns for mom and dad.
Oh,
So
you would have thought my family would have been prepared for Granny. She was 100, dear. But we were not. She's in Tupperware. Yeah. In a plastic bag inside the Tupperware.
But you know what?
Yes.
Granny knows what Tupperware is. They
It's
had
true.
Tupperware
Yeah.
parties.
I don't
then.
think Granny cares.
Granny is great.
Yes.
that's great.
Granny comes to dinner often. I get proud to show her what I made, and I bring it over. I bring her over.
Now we're
Wow.
like, can we get Banning in here to get the biblical?
I'm back, everyone. Anyway, Janessa.
Yes.
This is about you, not about me.
So fun.
Kind of.
Anytime
I
I bring
mean,
up
come
what I
on,
do, all the
kinda.
stories just flow, you know?
I love.
yeah.
I mean, Erika and I have talked about this a lot. Like, it takes a special person, and you are truly good at it.
Yeah, it's been a great career. I really enjoy it. I know Banning's tried to get me to come over for various jobs at the church, and I'm like, well, just have a lot of favor and enjoy talking to older people about what they want to do. So anyway, I'm very,
It's
very
a gift.
thankful. Very
It's a
thankful.
gift.
Yeah.
Well, I've had the honor of hearing a bit of your life and just the story of where you came from. And Deborah said in one of our first podcasts on this about a lot of times you meet people and you assume stuff, but there's so many empty spaces that you don't know. Like, you are well put together. You're this beautiful woman. You're confident. You carry yourself well. So you would have no idea and you just assume, oh, she's probably always been like this. She's always known who she is. She's, and women, as women, we can fill in the blanks with, well, see, why I'm not good enough? Janessa is great. And so to hear people's stories can be so freeing because all of a sudden you're like, oh, they walked through that and they got to the truth and they are walking this way. So it is possible for me to have victory with the Lord. Over my stuff too. So that is why we're doing this, for people to hear there is more to everyone's story and there is hope. There is a promise for them if they go after it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we would love to hear some of your story.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I feel like it's going to go back to childhood, as all of our stories do. But growing up in this small town in Tennessee, and with two parents who still love each other and are together, I'm very grateful for that. But I grew up with a mom in kind of my most formative years who was really working outside the home and then really involved with my grandparents who were aging. So that really affected a lot of just the nurture and the natural roles that, mothers provide. And my dad was super involved with us. But anyway, just the specific years that come to mind are, 4th, 5th, 6th grade. You're really kind of going through, friendships and your identity, your little identity is forming, And so for me, when my mom would get off work and then she would go care for my grandmother, we were left. So a lot of my story is around just even loving myself, which a lot of people can hear the word self-love and think, oh, that's really selfish and self-centered. But really, if you look at the other extreme, of hating yourself and really, having a lot of self-hatred, I mean, talk about being just wrapped up in your own mind. Everything revolves around you. And truly what the enemy uses, I believe, is just to keep you fully ineffective for anything that God has for you. Is just the whole world is, up against you. And so for me, a lot of that was revolving around weight, body image, with my mom not being as much in the home after school. We would get home and we would get our TV dinners and our snacks and a lot of, all of those processed goodies and just would kind of feed ourselves and, lock-key kids, right? Just at home and managing our own lives. And so I was probably, by 5th grade, I was maybe 150 pounds, 5'2" and whatnot. And I started to notice differences, among my peers and even had, a couple of guys in the class make comments that, of course, just sting you. But really, when I began to see a true difference and just I believe, where the door opened for me to really turn that inward in a way that was destructive was I had a really good friend in 6th grade. Her and I were about the same size. We were 2 chubby little girls. And then she went away for the summer. I have no idea where her parents took her to some camp or I don't know, but she came back and it was like the first day of school and nobody recognized her. I mean, she was just like this gorgeous, beautiful, thin, girl. And we were really good friends. And then we weren't because she was immediately accepted and all the male attention, everything. And so, in counseling, they call it, confirming experiences, right? You're watching TV. I'm seeing, okay, this is what beauty is. This is what you have to achieve to be, desired. And then I live it, my best friend. And then she's now this and she's popular. And wow, she has the very thing we all want, right? Yes. To be accepted and admired and all of that. And so at that time in my life, I didn't have really anybody speaking the truth and that I could process my emotions with. And so, I actually even just turned more to food for comfort, which, aided the problem. And so it was really early on that, it was depression. It was, just crying out for attention, like, oh, I don't want to live anymore, just saying something to get somebody to, care at a deeper level. And so that's kind of where this story for me began. And on top of that, and I'll say my dad, very, very loving man. I feel super close to him and I'm very grateful for just his presence even during those times. But again, not the same. I wasn't opening up with the raw emotion of what I was going through. But he, and I know that this is really, this is going to be hard to share even because he was just really used, I think, by the enemy to further emphasize this to me. But I remember him noticing, I'm getting bigger. We're having to buy her bigger clothes. And he's like, oh, Janessa, we got to get this weight off of you. Like, no man's ever going to love a fat girl. And it was right around that same experience with a friend. So it was a really real reality that, I began to adopt as true.
It's such a tender thing to think of, like, just in raising kids. And it just brings me back like, oh, Lord, I hope I didn't say anything flippant, because like you loved your dad.
Yeah, great.
And he loved you.
Yeah.
But yet that was so painful and what the message it sent you.
Yeah. Yeah. Because then I went on to, okay, my sole goal is to get the weight off, right? Because I want to be loved and I want to be accepted. And truthfully, how that played out is I did in high school. I got a little notebook and wrote 1,400 at the top of it every day and did little snack packs, healthy, unhealthy, foods. But it counted my calories and I would run blocks around my house and, lost 30 pounds and came back to school just like my friend had in 7th grade. So here I am coming back into 10th grade and I was new and I got the exact thing I was thinking and hoping I would get, immediate attention, which really spiraled to a destructive pattern of, promiscuity and just wanting to be accepted. And so I really have a heart for young girls that I see, battling that because it's oftentimes rooted in a lot of, self-hatred.
Yeah. So how did you get to the other side of that?
Yeah. God. You can change the external, but the internal root was still there.
Yes.
And okay, so maybe it's not my weight, but it's this, and it's my skin texture, or it's my skin tone, or it's this, and it's a never-ending path. And that's the exact, that's what the enemy, the father of lies, is trying to just get you to believe the next one, right?
Yes.
You believed this one for so long, and then it's a never-ending road. And so for me, it was probably around early 20s, because even though I was physically thin, in my mind, I wasn't. It wasn't enough. And I was internally believing this lie that I will share in just a moment that was so real to me, but it was so dark, I didn't think I could say it out loud. But it was very present in my mind almost every day. And I ended up going to a Bethel conference, actually, in Southern California with a friend of mine, which was a huge sacrifice because I was a poor college student. I had come home from the mission field and was trying to make it all work. And I remember paying for that trip and just expecting to meet God. And I'm not really sure what we were just there, because we felt like we needed to go. So that's a word for somebody. If you feel like you need to go somewhere, you better buy the ticket and God will meet you there. And so I remember hearing Abby Stumble, a girl from Bethel, share her story. And she actually did an altar call because I was actually in nutritional therapy for an eating disorder at that time even. So it was on and off. But it was really, really intense. Just the never ending, the repeat in my mind was, oh, you need to do this. Okay, you need to skip this session at the conference and you need to go work out because you just ate that and you did this. And it's just like the play. I mean, it's insanity, in the mind. And I didn't have a sound mind. And I was, a youth leader, really involved at the church, really had a vibrant relationship with God at this time. And I ended up being at this conference. Abby shares her message, which was one of freedom, and she did an altar call. I want you to stand up right now if you have an eating disorder that you're battling. And it's the first time I'd ever heard that called out in church. And I did, and I had a group of people praying for me and really felt the presence of the Lord and believed like, all right, God, I think I came here for this element of my freedom. I received this. And I ended up feeling like I needed to just get prayer from, one of the prayer team members at the end of the conference. So they had, they had to kick everybody out because it's the last night of the conference. Everybody get out. So I'm on LA Live Plaza downtown outside the Microsoft Theater at probably 10 p.m. on the final night. I'd received prayer from a couple other people, but I just felt like there's something more God has for me. And when you're like in line for prayer and everybody's, okay, come over, we're available, come over. I'm like, no, I feel like there was this one gal, South African gal, I didn't know that at the time, but that was supposed to pray for me. And I was like, okay, I'm going to stand in her line. And maybe it's because she was taking a long time with people. So I'm like, oh, she's giving a good word, but I stood, and my sweet friend that was with me, I was so grateful that she was willing, because it's, now 11:30 p.m. probably, and we're still there, and other people are willing to pray for us. Anyway, so I'm standing there, and I get up to her, and she just says, what can I, pray for you for? And I just said, I want freedom for my family, because my parents are believers, but really stuck in their religion. And it was a pretty wild environment when I decided to leave their denomination, a lot of persecution. And I was living at home with them, finishing my college degree. So they would, they didn't believe I was a Christian anymore, and a lot of other things that are out there. But it's like, I want freedom for my family and I want freedom over my body. And so she begins to pray for me, and she's just like, I just break shame off your life. And she's like praying just a few simple sentences. And she's like, and I break the lie that when I get skinny, my husband will come. Because I'm, 24 at this time. A lot of my friends have already gotten married. But I heard that, and I was like, the only person in the world that knows that about me, the darkest, deepest thing that feels like it's plaguing my mind every day as a single, not a lot of dating experience at that time. The only person that knows that is the Lord himself. Wow. And so just somebody speaking light on my darkness just began to set me up for the breakthrough that God had for me. Because then what was then prophesied over me was just this self-love. She was like, you are going to look in the mirror from today, and you are going to partner with beauty. I am incredibly beautiful. I am incredibly beautiful. That will be on repeat in your mind until you believe it, and then you will have a ripple effect of sharing that with others. And so that for me was the catalyst. And I did, you guys. I took this word, and I was like, I know the people at Bethel say they have their binders and whatever. I had like 1,000 Post-it notes everywhere. The background of my phone, everything was, I am incredibly beautiful. I am incredibly beautiful. To where I could then, go to sleepovers and take off my makeup freely. All this hiding. That's what the lies do. They just hide you, the shame, all of that. It just broke open. And I really came back lighter from that experience. And so that for me was a real God moment.
Powerful. And then how was it walking that out?
Rocky. I would say, yeah, it wasn't like I'm incredibly beautiful, and then that's still what I believe to this day.
Never
10 years later.
again.
Yeah, exactly. It's been a journey for sure. I definitely think there was a lot of power in that encounter.
Yes.
And I had friends that were really supportive and, that would encourage me. And then it's kind of like come in cycles, I guess you could say, because I will have times where, even as an adult, probably from that moment, have fluctuated in weight up and down a few times. But there has always been this thread of like at the core is full acceptance and love, because I did a lot of work after that. I did a lot of work, I mean, they had one exercise that they recommend. I think it was Abby that even said this, like, I want you guys to stand in front of the mirror naked, and I want you to bless every body part that you've cursed, and like bless, like I love my stomach, whatever. And so for me, like a really simple one, you guys, not that I was ever deeply insecure about, but I think I inherited this from my mom's insecurity. We have the same nose, this very prominent, distinct nose. And my grandfather had this nose, and my mom actually got really made fun of for her nose growing up. They would call her like nanner nose or whatever. And I never got made fun of for my nose, but it is something that I was like, I just wish it was smaller, And I remember in this whole activity of doing this work with Jesus, like I bless my nose, like I have a beautiful nose. And it was the first time I'd probably ever verbally expressed like acceptance for this character. And it was like 3 people within a week, they're like, wow, you have such a great nose.
You do have a great nose.
And I was like, wow, this works. I'm just going to bless myself, So I would say just partnering with truth and always coming back to that, and really letting my community in. Like, hey, this is an active thing, and I want you to, call me out when you see it. And I have had friends, like good friends, real friends, say, hey, what I'm sensing from you with this isn't good. And so just the opportunity to be real with the people closest to you that experience you, I think with all of our struggles, right? We have to keep in check and just be real with the people around us that love us and want to see us, operate in full freedom, therefore.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think you're right, CeeJay, in that, Janessa, you are so stunningly beautiful that you would not know that there was any struggle or anything going on behind. It's funny what can go on in our minds and our hearts and our spirits that no one knows. And you were doing ministry, you were doing all these things, and yet you had this internal struggle. And the thing about with the internal struggle is it's just relentless. You wake up to it, you go to bed to it. You can have, it's like you can't shake it even when you're trying. And I love that you touched on that you had to do the work, that it wasn't like you got prayed over and delivered.
Right.
I mean, sometimes people have that. Some people have addictions and it's gone.
Yes.
But most of the time, it is a, you've got to work in your salvation, in that it's like, okay, Lord, I've got to obey you and your Holy Spirit and follow it. And I love that you did the work that was in front of you to do. Are you aware of times when you struggle more than others? Like, have there been times when you feel like, gosh, I'm not doing well, and what do you do when you're not doing well to kind of get back to having the strength you need to keep going?
Well, I think there's the anchor points that I kind of shared. I mean, I go back to that encounter a lot because I'm like, that's where God reminded me of the truth, and he actually reminded me that, he saw me and he cares about this, because I think it's easy to be like, well, this is dumb. This is only my problem.
Right.
You wouldn't know, so what does it matter? But really, when I begin to think about how much time and energy is spent towards it and aimed at it, I'm just like, oh my goodness, this is so like not what I'm created, for. So I would say loneliness is a big trigger for me. So actually, I mean, to be fully transparent, just in the last year have like had struggles with this to the degree where I did get like more professional help because I was isolated. It's I'm an adult, single, living at home. I have my own place, and went through a breakup, and just experienced like, oh wow, am so incredibly alone, and I don't have that external affirmation. And so therefore, I just need to be among some like-minded people. So like joined a group of people, and I have, counselor and whatnot. So it is a journey, right?
Yeah.
It's a journey. And I think there's the work of prayer and partnering with truth and the prophetic words and all of that. And then there is like, hey God, what in the natural, like who have you, set before me to open up and be real about this with, and the natural, the resources out there. There's a lot of amazing, programs.
I think it's so important that, and you guys have touched on it, but the work you have to do, that it's not magic. It's not like, well, you were healed of this at 24, so therefore it's never going to come up again. And I think we all kind of naively think that at first, and then we're shocked when it comes roaring its head back like, hey, can I get in now? Can I get in now? I mean, I had my long journey with anxiety. That doesn't mean I don't still have days that it tries to poke up where I'm like, whoa, hold on. And it's up to me. Like in seasons, do I need to see somebody, a counselor that could help me? Do I need to do things different to shape things up and get things back on the right road? Absolutely.
As someone who has daughters, I know SeaJay and Erika both have daughters. Do you feel like, in a world that we live very outside right now, out loud with society, there's a lot coming at our daughters. There's a lot coming at us, but we didn't have social media like we do now.
Yeah.
What would you say in terms of parenting our girls in this season that will help with the security side that maybe you felt that you missed, or was there anything that you feel would be something you would do with your own daughter one day to help in the process?
That's a great question. Well, not necessarily to moms, but first I feel like the fathers have such a vital role to give that affirmation and tell them they're beautiful, and the mothers as well. But I think about my friends' husbands that take their daughters on dates, and just them experiencing what a beautiful pursuit looks like from a man, because oftentimes in that just downward spiral of self-hatred and I need to achieve this to be this, when you don't actually have the influx of the acceptance coming in the home, then you're all the more hungry to go out into the world to receive that, right? And from cheap sources, I mean, from, even now with social media, it's right. It's like, if I can post a picture where I look like this, how many guys are going to comment this, right? And so it's, I know that's like a very real thing that we live in, and everybody, if I was a teenager today, for sure would fall. Like that's, it's the easiest way to get that quick, like, oh wow, I am beautiful, I am this, right?
Yeah,
it's very
affirmation.
easy. So, but I think just having intentional conversations, and always, it's not about, changing the outside, but where's their heart at, and like just, developing those relationships where, like, is their heart in, a place that's hungry, where they need a little bit more, and I think you opening up about your own struggles, even with your daughters, like I think it would have been really helpful if my mom would have shared, and just being involved. My struggle was very intense, and it was very obvious what it was. Like I was turning to food and all these weird compulsive behaviors, and just, I guess, seeing things in your children and not, oh, that's so painful because maybe it was your struggle, or maybe it was, it's just inconvenient to engage at a deeper level because we have all these other things that are more pressing, but actually taking the time to say, hey, I noticed this, is there anything you want to share? And just, creating a safe place for them to do that.
Yes. I can't imagine watching my kids struggle and not trying to jump in there. So I would hope that most moms would be willing to face, even when it brings up stuff in you, which is hard. It is hard. It is painful. It is humbling. It is all the bad emotions that we have to face for the better of our kids.
Even I would say, as I have one child who battles their weight, and it has been a struggle because I grew up in an environment where I didn't battle my weight. My mom was kind of hippy-dippy, didn't really talk about her weight. I wish she would have. I wish she would have talked about her struggle more. She complained as she got older, but at the time she didn't. And as a mom, you're kind of like, do I bring it up or do I not? It's kind of the elephant in the room. It's like, if I bring it up, am I putting light on it? And it really isn't supposed to put light on it. You're supposed to just ignore it, which I think that's what a lot of parents, they just ignore it. Or if I bring it up, am I making it too big of a deal? And now, it's like that fine balance. And I love what you're talking about just having a relationship enough to connect, to know what to do in that season, and not just coming in for that specific thing, but because of that relationship. But it is, I think it's tough. It's tough to watch that kind of go through.
Yeah.
And like you said, there is validation. Like you got validation for doing things that weren't healthy, but the world validates you. And I think just like social media, you get validation immediately. When you show up 30 pounds thinner, you're going to get validation. It does. People don't care how you got thin.
Right,
They're just happy you're thin.
Yeah.
And it's really, that's just the environment we're in. And so I just think what you're saying is so right on, that there's deeper things to it. And so
and just
true.
engaging with them, not being afraid to engage. Hey, is this something that you want to share this with me? If not, if you want to, go at it and, in your own process or in your own way. But I'm sure that they would appreciate, just knowing that you care, like I care, and just being able to identify patterns. Like I had a lot of patterns that were never addressed, like just weird stuff. And I would, just really, it was all a means for attention. And so I think that there's definitely ways that parents can make an impact of just, having those conversations. So, but you guys are all incredible moms. So I know that you're
perfect moms. Is what we are.
perfect.
Never
Actually,
make mistakes.
yes.
Actually, yeah, no. Oh, Janessa, thank you so much. So appreciate your vulnerability, and I hope this encourages some of you out there. If you are in this struggle, it doesn't matter if you're 40 going through this struggle. There is freedom for you. There is hope, and I think sometimes it can feel like, well, I don't know how to get that one prayer to give me breakthrough.
Sure.
And I just want to say, don't wait for the one prayer. The Lord will show you exactly what to do.
Yes.
Who is there for you, who to walk with, what to pray. You are not just subject to waiting, to sitting, but you can make a move forward, trust Him to show you what to do.
Yeah.
All right.
Ask Him for the next step.
Yes. Thank you so much, Janessa. We appreciate you being here.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Authentic You podcast. Be sure to follow us on socials, and like anything else, Jesus Culture Podcast Network is easy to find, and we'd love to hear what God's doing in your lives or what your thoughts are on what we talked about today. So comment or message us. Share today's episode with a friend, and if you haven't already, go back and binge seasons 1 and 2. You can find us on jesusculture.com or anywhere where you listen to podcasts.